we're gonna try to sing it. All right. It's time for low. It's time for rain. It's time for another dose of that violent video game. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Wings of Redemption, and I'm bringing you some extra violent, extra gory, shoot 'em up kind of video games. And I want to go ahead and talk about video game violence. I recently talked about video game violence right before Black Ops 2 came out, when I actually linked that school shootings and stuff of that nature is not determined by video games whatsoever. Matter of fact, two of the worst school shootings that ever took place in history of school shootings happened well before even Atari came out. So what was the motive of those guys back then? And I see myself as a pretty good test subject for this, because in the media's eyes, I am the worst offender of violent video games and violent movies that you can actually have. I have been watching horror movies. I've been playing violent video games since the age of 5. I'm literally 5, 6, 7. I was watching Jason kill naked campers. I mean, that is what I did. And I am not a violent person. Hell, I don't even like getting in fights. I'm not a violent person at all. But I do have guns. Ooh. And there's been a new law that's been kind of pushed through, and a lot of it is centered around video games, and a lot of it's centered around gun control, the new gun control laws, which are basically going to try to reinstate the Bill Clinton thing, which the Bill Clinton thing was an assault rifle ban or a black rifle ban. It's questionable how you word it, because if you ban assault rifles, you're basically banning anything that can take a bayonet. There's World War II bolt-action rifles that can take bayonets. There's shotguns from 1897 that can take bayonets. And those would be under the assault rifle ban. There's another one floating around out there that Obama is backing that's going to basically ban the sale of high-capacity magazines. The high-capacity magazine is a magazine that has more than 10 shots. This would be in any caliber. This could be in, 38... this could be a 38, this could be a 22 long rifle, whatever caliber that you got, you can't have more than 10. And, yeah, most people wouldn't need more than 10, but the fact is, 30-round magazines are more for target shooting than anything else. But here's the flaw in that plan. All right, here's the big flaw. And I'm going to point it out. If you ban high-capacity magazines, the only people that are going to be affected by the ban of high-capacity magazines are people that target shoot. You know why? Why? Because if you're planning on shooting people, you don't give a fuck if you got 10 or less bullets in your clip. I have 2 high-capacity magazines right here. I actually have 12 of these things. I just have 2 on my desk right here. And you know the reason I have them? Because I don't like reloading my fucking gun every time I shoot a target. That's the whole reason. Yes, when you go hunting, there already in effect is capacity laws set up by the game wardens. You're not allowed to have more than 3 shotgun shells for ducks. You're not allowed to have more than 4 rounds for deer. Those are already in effect. So guess what? They actually sell things like tube stoppers and things like that, which will basically put you in correction with the law. High-capacity magazines aren't going to change anything. The fact is, this dude had a bunch of high-capacity magazines, and he didn't use them all. So what, he got to stop and reload more? What is that going to do? Nothing. Look at the guy in Virginia Tech. He killed like 30 people with pistols. Pistols. Are we not going to have high-capacity magazines and pistols? And are our cops allowed to have high-capacity magazines? Last I checked, our cops use Beretta 92 FS. Those carry 16 rounds with one in the chamber. Are they not? Are they going to go down to 10 too? Are they going to be in line? Are they going to set the example? I don't know. I mean, basically, another thing this law wants to do is make it so it's harder to buy guns from somebody else. That's cool. But here's the thing that bothers me about this. It's not the fact that they want to only allow you to buy guns from a wholesaler. I buy most of my guns from a wholesaler. I bought, I think, 2 guns in my entire life from somebody that was third party. And it's a pain in the ass to get them re-registered to your name. So I've gone through this background check probably 30 times. 30 times, alright? So, during this background check, you know what they do? They basically fill out this paper that's 4 pages long. They call, like, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They have somebody on a computer that looks up your name and goes, oh, yeah, he doesn't have a history of violent crime. You sell the gun. You get a background check every time you buy a gun. And it's annoying more than anything else. It doesn't prove what kind of person you are, because a background check will not. Let me put it this way: that little kid that shot up Newborn, Connecticut, if he went to buy that gun instead of using his mother's guns, he could have. You know why he could have? Because he has no history of mental health disability. He has no history of violent crimes. He plays StarCraft and Warcraft, for Christ's sakes. And they're trying to say these are violent video games. When I think of a guy that plays Warcraft, violence is the last thing I think of. I'm sorry to say, I'm sorry to stereotype here, but I just don't see people that play Warcraft or StarCraft 2 competitively as these violent people. I don't. But they're labeling them as this. But because he doesn't have a history of mental health, there is where we should do it. I remember I was looking at the news the other day at a friend's house, and his mother's like, they should put bulletproof glass in the schools. I'm like, no, they shouldn't. She's like, why don't you want to keep the kids safe? I'm like, I have no problem keeping the kids safe, but the fact is, it's not cost effective, because guess where that bulletproof glass is coming from? The taxpayer. What they should do, instead of putting bulletproof glass and making schools a fortress, they should increase the spending on mental health. Maybe they should go through and have, like, mental health counselors go through schools and maybe test people out. Maybe there should be stricter guidelines for what's out of the social medium. Maybe there should be more programs that help people that deal with these outcasts, that have single-parent homes, that have these things. Instead, and maybe you can catch the guy before he goes off the deep end, more than, putting a bulletproof glass in the door of a school. Because guess what? Even if you make that school a fortress, all they're going to do is either wait for recess, or they're going to go to the mall and shoot the mall up. Crazy people are crazy, and that's the bottom line. And we're not talking about the newborn school in general here. We're talking about the act in general. Crazy people are crazy. If somebody wants to do bodily harm to you, there's no way you can stop them unless you defend yourself. For example, house locks. A lock on a house is basically borderline worthless. Why? Why is a lock worthless? Well, one, it only keeps out the people that don't really want to get in to begin with. If you're a thief and you go to rob somebody's house, do you honestly think that you're not going to come up against a lock and bring some kind of countermeasure for a lock? Sledgehammer, right foot. There's a number of things that you can do to knock a lock off a door. If you wanted to get into somebody's house and do bodily harm to them, but a door lock stood in your way, unless that door lock is made by Brinks and it's like consists of like 20 inches of steel, there's a good chance he's going to be able to just kick a standard door lock in, even with a deadbolt. Hell, even if you had your shit bolted up like you was this hermit conspiracy theorist, all they gotta do is hook a chain to the fucking door and rip it out of the house. There's ways to get into everywhere. There's windows. There's so many ways into a house. It's ridiculous. It's peace of mind. I mean, they're going to make tougher gun laws, and we're going to have to go by tougher gun laws, but I just want to put it out there that tougher gun laws isn't the answer. The answer is basically better mental health. There's people that do these things aren't right in the head. And the only way to stop people from committing these things is to fix the people that aren't right in the head. And to do that, you got to pay attention. What do you guys think? It's been your boy Wings of Redemption, and I'm Audi 5000.